thinking. Thinking about religion, and I was kind of took up the challenge that I don't know, modified and took up a challenge. But Peter on Mars Hill in Korea sort of was noting that many atheists don't like to say anything good, won't even concede anything good that religion does. I think there are a couple of reasons for that, and they're probably best left for another video. But so I'm just going to jump right into, at the risk of sounding like I'm giving a backhanded compliment, I'd say one good thing about religion is that's where there's a moral conversation, there's a moral dialogue. At least that's where it starts. But yeah, here's the backhand compliment, or the backhand of the compliment. But I think that's also where it dies, too. Too often. I know there are a little more intellectual, a little more broad-minded Christians who are aware that it's not sufficient just to say, this is good because God says so. That's a very primitive sort of outlook, but it's unfortunately still very common that many Christians can't go any deeper than that. Or they might say, well, we believe in faith that it's a good thing, despite its appearance, and it's part of our faith in God. And we believe that there is probably a good reason why He wants us to do this. It's just not apparent to us now. And so we just have to trust in God and keep on, plugging on, no matter what that is. No matter what that is. So the conversation about morality, what's good and what's bad, very healthy part of any society, very necessary part of any social group. We have to lay down some rules. But it seems to die there, and why it dies there is this sort of really juvenile thing that so often happens, at least in the the less sophisticated and more banal versions of Christianity. It's the same as what I used to do when I was a little kid. This was wrong of me to do, but I did it nonetheless. I'd be having an argument with my brother, and it looked like he was winning, and instead of conceding or trying to come up with a better reason as to why he was wrong, I would turn to my mother and say, Mom, tell him that he's wrong. Tell him that I'm right and he's wrong. And my mother's main interest was having a quiet home or a quiet car or whatever. And that usually is what probably shaped her answer. But I think religions often do the same thing. And that's what God represents. God is the ultimate authority that one could appeal to, and it's a trump card. So we can say that, say, homosexuality is wrong. Well, why is it wrong? And often the answer is just because it says so in the Bible. They try to come up with other answers. I explored in an earlier video that it's maybe that they try to say that it's unnatural, which is bogus. But I don't want to get off on a sideline of some area that I've already covered. My main point is the social dialogue. I think in the future we're still going to have Christians, we're still going to have Muslims, and probably more and more we're going to have people who don't subscribe to some specific faith. But I think this is an attempt to find common ground. And I think it's the illusion that some Christians have that they have access to an ultimate authority. And I think they have to give that up in order for us to be able to find common ground. They're going to have to concede that, okay, I don't have the ultimate authority. What I have is a tradition, maybe the Bible. It represents as an artifact of that tradition. And I have my brain. And so really that's no different than people of other faiths and people without a specific religious faith, in that we have tradition, we have our brains and reasoning and our moral sense. I still have a sense of reciprocity. You want to call it the golden rule if you're a Christian, but it's the same. I'm saying it wouldn't be right for me If it's right for you to do it, it's right for me to do it. And if it's wrong for me to do it, it's wrong for you to do it. That's the sort of moral principle that's common to all humans. So I think we can find common ground there, but I think the thing that's slowing us down is this illegitimate claim to ultimate authority. So I was trying to compose a question. Is this conflict between the religious and the secular inevitable? Is it resolvable? And I'm suggesting it is resolvable, but I'm afraid what's going to have to happen, is the religious are going to have to say, okay, we don't have the ultimate authority. We have our traditions, and we have our brains, and we have each other to dialogue with and to live with. And that's the route through which we can find common ground and build a healthier, better society. That's my thoughts on it. But, so what do you think? Is that possible? Could we do that as a society? Is the conflict between the secular and the religious resolvable? And if it's not in accord to what I'm suggesting, how? If it's not resolvable, well, what the do we do with that? Anyways, I'd appreciate hearing any response, like in a video response. That would be awesome. But, it'd be cool just to have a comment below, too. Anyways, 72 Daystar, out.